Welcome to a story that will change the way you see success. Welcome to a story that will not only touch your heart, it will stay with you forever. Because today, you're not just watching a video. You're entering the real life of one of the most famous, most beloved, and most unstoppable men in the world. A man who made the whole world laugh while hiding his pain. A man who jumped off buildings, broke his bones, cracked his skull, shattered his body, just to entertain us. A man who became a global superstar, but never had a real childhood. His name is Jackie Chan. But this is not the Jackie Chan you know from the movies. This is the boy who was abandoned by his parents. The child who was beaten into discipline. The stuntman who nearly died again and again, just for one more shot. The legend who made billions, then gave it all away. And the old man who looks back at his life, wondering if he forgot to live. In this video, you will discover the brutal training Jackie survived as a child, the heartbreak of being separated from his parents for 10 years, the dangerous stunts that almost ended his life, the loneliness of global fame, the regret he carries about his son, and the ultimate truth he learned after decades of sacrifice. You will also learn how real success is built, not with shortcuts, but with discipline, failure, heartbreak, and courage. And here's the best part. This video will also improve your English. Because as you listen to this story, told in easy, emotional, clear English, your brain will connect deeply with real vocabulary, natural sentences, and powerful storytelling. You won't just learn about Jackie Chan. You'll start thinking in English as the story flows into your mind. So get ready. Get ready for a story that is not just emotional, not just motivational, but one that will stay with you for life. Let's begin. Part 1. The Boy with No Home. Jackie Chan's painful beginning. Jackie Chan was not born rich. He was not born strong, and he was definitely not born famous. He was born as a poor child in Hong Kong on April 7, 1954. His real name was Chan Kong Sang, which means born in Hong Kong, because his parents had just escaped from civil war in China. They were refugees. They had nothing. His father, Charles Chan, worked as a cook. His mother, Li Chan, worked as a housemaid. They didn't have money for toys. They didn't have time for love. They didn't even know how to raise a child. So when Jackie was born, they gave him to someone else for a few years, just so they could survive. He grew up alone, and the only thing he understood, even as a small child, was this: I have to be strong. Nobody is coming to save me. When Jackie was 6 years old, something happened that changed his life forever. His parents got a job offer to work in Australia. It was a big chance for them, but they couldn't take Jackie with them. So they made a decision that would leave a scar in his heart for the rest of his life. They left him behind. They enrolled him in a place called China Drama Academy, a boarding school for Chinese opera performers. But it was not really a school. It was more like a military prison for children. The master of the school was a cruel man named Master Yu Jim Yuen. And Jackie was now one of his students. At just 6 years old, Jackie was thrown into a world of pain, discipline, and endless training. The children woke up before sunrise. They didn't have breakfast. They didn't laugh. They didn't rest. They trained. From early morning until late night, they trained their bodies, their voices, their flexibility, their reactions. If they cried, they were hit. If they made a mistake, they were punished. If they fell, they were told to get back up. There was no sympathy. There was no love. There were no weekends. There were no holidays. There were no parents. They slept on wooden floors. They ate cheap food. They used one shared bathroom. The master believed in discipline through pain. He made the boys hold handstands for hours. He tied their legs open to make them do full splits. He beat them with sticks if they couldn't memorize a line. And this happened every day, for 10 years. Jackie once said in an interview, "I used to cry every day, but no one cared. I just wanted to see my parents, but they never came." That's the part of Jackie's story nobody tells you. Behind every smile you've ever seen on screen was a child who felt abandoned, unloved, and broken inside. Inside the school, Jackie met other boys who would become his brothers. Together, they were called the 7 Little Fortunes. It was like a team of top students who were the best at acrobatics, kung fu, and performing. They toured all over Hong Kong, doing shows for money. The leader of the group was Jackie. Even back then, he had extraordinary talent. He could do flips. He could jump through rings. He could fight, sing, fall, and dance, all in one performance. He wasn't doing it because he loved it. He was doing it because he had no other choice. And deep inside his heart, he still hoped that one day, his parents would return for him. But they didn't. By the time Jackie was 10, he had no parents, no toys, no holidays, no real friends outside the school, no warm bed, no hugs. No one to tell him, "You're doing great." All he had was his pain and his dream. If I work hard enough, maybe one day the world will see me. From age 6 to age 17, Jackie lived inside that painful world. But he didn't break. In fact, it made him stronger than anyone could imagine. He learned how to control pain, how to smile even when it hurts, how to make a perfect move after 1,000 failures, how to obey, how to lead, how to sacrifice, and how to stay humble. Because no matter how good he got, the master never praised him. This was the Jackie Chan the world doesn't know. The child soldier, the quiet performer, the lonely warrior. He didn't choose this life, but it became the foundation for everything he would later become. When Jackie finally left the China Drama Academy at 17 years old, he had no certificate, no college degree, no money, and no family support. He had spent more than 10 years training like a machine. But now that training was over. He stepped into the real world, and nobody cared who he was. There were no job offers waiting, no fans, no applause, no security. Just an endless city filled with hundreds of boys like him, all trying to survive. He had only one option: become a stuntman. And not a safe, comfortable stuntman like in Hollywood. In Hong Kong, stuntmen were treated like cheap tools. Producers didn't care about safety. Directors didn't care about injuries. If you got hurt, they would simply replace you with someone else. But Jackie didn't have a choice. He needed to eat. He needed a future. So he said yes, and walked straight into the most dangerous chapter of his life. Jackie started working as an extra in low-budget kung fu films. He was not the hero. He was not even the villain. He was the man in the background who gets punched once and falls down. Sometimes he was a bandit, sometimes a bodyguard, sometimes just fighter number 4. Nobody cared what his name was. Nobody gave him lines. Nobody even gave him proper safety gear. All they gave him was a quick direction. Jump from here. Get kicked. Fall down. Don't cry. And Jackie followed every order. He jumped off balconies, rolled down stairs, crashed through tables, fell flat on his back, landed on his face, got kicked in the teeth, hit with real wooden sticks, thrown into walls, almost drowned, lost teeth, dislocated bones, and once almost broke his neck. But he never said no. Why? Because deep inside, he still had one dream. If I do this better than anyone else, maybe one day they'll remember me. One day in the early 1970s, Jackie got hired as a stuntman for a film called Enter the Dragon. And this was not just any movie. It was the first major Hollywood martial arts film. And the star of the film was none other than Bruce Lee. Bruce was already a legend, a global icon. Every stuntman wanted to work with him, even for a few seconds. And Jackie got his chance. In one scene, Jackie was supposed to run at Bruce and get hit hard to show Bruce's power. That was it. 1 second of pain, 1 second of visibility. Jackie ran, Bruce hit him hard with a stick, and Jackie fell so hard that he forgot where he was. But what happened next changed Jackie's life. Bruce Lee stopped the scene, rushed over, and helped Jackie up. He touched Jackie's head gently and asked, "Are you okay?" It was such a small moment, but for Jackie, it was the first time someone important noticed him. He pretended he was still hurt, just to enjoy a few more seconds of Bruce Lee's kindness. 1 second made Jackie believe, if Bruce Lee can become a global icon, maybe I can too. But I'll have to find my own way because Jackie knew something. He could never become Bruce Lee. Bruce Lee was serious, powerful, clean, perfect. But Jackie? He was always falling, always messy, always funny. So Jackie made a decision. I won't copy Bruce Lee. I'll do something nobody else does. I'll be the man who fights and falls, who fights and laughs, who fights and gets hurt, but gets back up. That was the moment Jackie began to shape his future. Even after working with Bruce Lee, Jackie's life didn't change instantly. For years, he was just another nameless man getting kicked on camera. Producers laughed at him. Directors ignored him. Nobody gave him a main role. Some even said, "Your face is not good for movies. You look funny. You don't talk like a hero. You can't be the lead actor." It would have broken most people, but Jackie kept going. He worked 18 hours a day, slept on studio floors, ate cheap noodles. Sometimes he didn't even get paid, but every day he practiced. He studied how other actors moved. He trained his face to show emotion. He studied comedy. He trained his body to fall safely but look painful. He rehearsed thousands of stunts until they looked real but controlled. Because Jackie had a secret mission. One day, I will create a new kind of hero. A hero who makes you laugh while bleeding. A hero who doesn't always win, but never gives up. In 1978, Jackie was offered a role in a film called Snake in the Eagle's Shadow. It was a low-budget kung fu comedy. But for the first time, Jackie was allowed to mix martial arts and comedy. He played a weak, silly young man who learns kung fu in a strange way, using humor, surprise, and fast movements. The audience loved it. They had never seen anything like this before. Jackie made them laugh, then fight, then fall, then win. He was not perfect like Bruce Lee, but he was real. He was the guy who looked like you, who failed, got hurt, and still stood up. The film became a big success, and then another one followed, Drunken Master. And suddenly, Jackie Chan became a name people remembered. He had found his style. Not Bruce Lee's style, not anybody else's style, but Jackie Chan's style. Pain, laughter, chaos, stunts, comedy, and courage. Jackie didn't get lucky. He didn't know the right people. He didn't have rich parents. He didn't get help. He built himself with pain, falls, failures, broken bones, and quiet practice. Over many, many years. And now, he was finally ready to take the next step. To become more than just a star in Hong Kong. He wanted the world. But the world wasn't ready for him yet. Part 2. Jackie Chan versus Hollywood, the painful road to global fame. By the late 1970s, Jackie Chan had finally become a star in Hong Kong. After years of broken bones, rejection, and humiliation, he was now the face of kung fu comedy. His movies like Drunken Master and Snake in the Eagle's Shadow had made him a household name. Audiences loved his speed, his humor, and his style. And Jackie? He wasn't satisfied. He looked beyond Hong Kong, beyond China, beyond Asia. He wanted the world. He wanted to break into Hollywood, the biggest movie industry on earth. Because for him, true success didn't mean being famous in one country. It meant being known everywhere. But what Jackie didn't know was that Hollywood wasn't ready for him. And his next journey would be one of the most painful, humiliating, and difficult chapters of his life. In 1980, Jackie got an offer to work in the United States. It was a dream come true. An American producer had seen his Hong Kong films and thought, this guy could be the next Bruce Lee. They gave Jackie a role in a movie called The Big Brawl. It was his first leading role in an English-language film. The producers were excited. Jackie was excited. Everyone thought it would be a big success. But the moment filming started, Jackie realized something was wrong. The American director didn't understand Jackie's style. He wanted Jackie to fight like Bruce Lee. Serious, slow, powerful. But Jackie was not Bruce Lee. He tried to suggest ideas, fast moves, funny reactions, crazy stunts. But the director said, no, just do it the American way. Jackie felt frustrated and ignored. Nobody listened to his creative ideas. Nobody let him be himself. He was a guest in someone else's system. When the movie was finally released, it flopped. American audiences didn't understand Jackie. Asian audiences didn't like the American version of him. And critics said, this actor is trying to be Bruce Lee, but he's not even close. Jackie felt embarrassed, disappointed, and angry. He had left Hong Kong at the peak of his success. And now he was being laughed at in the country he dreamed of conquering. But Jackie didn't give up. He signed up for another American movie, The Cannonball Run. It was a comedy with Hollywood stars like Burt Reynolds and Roger Moore. Jackie was given a small role, a Japanese driver. There was one big problem. Jackie is not Japanese. He's Chinese. But the producers didn't care. They didn't even know the difference. To them, all Asians were the same. Jackie was too polite to say anything. He wore the costume. He smiled for the camera. He delivered the lines they gave him, and once again, the movie failed to help his career. He was being used as a decoration, not as a real actor. He was being placed in movies not to shine, but to fill a spot. And the worst part? He couldn't speak English fluently. So during interviews, Jackie struggled to express himself. He felt stupid, small, and lost in translation. He returned to Hong Kong, not as a global star, but as a man who had tasted rejection from the biggest stage in the world. After failing in Hollywood, most people would give up. They would say, I'm not good enough. It's not my time. They don't accept people like me. But Jackie did something different. He returned to Hong Kong, sat down with his team, and said, "We're going to build something they've never seen before. They rejected me? Then I'll give them a reason to come begging." He decided to make his own kind of films, combining wild stunts, real pain, fast-paced action, Hong Kong culture, international-level storytelling, comedy and emotion, and Jackie's signature smile. He created a new genre, not traditional kung fu, not Hollywood action, but something in between. And this time, he had full control. He directed the films himself, choreographed the fights himself, designed the stunts himself, even sang the theme songs in Chinese. He became a one-man movie army. From 1985 to 1995, Jackie made film after film, each one more insane than the last. Some of his most iconic works during this period: Police Story, where he slides down a 5-story pole covered in lights; Project A, where he falls from a clock tower and lands on his head; Armor of God, where he jumps between trees and cracks his skull open; Rumble in the Bronx, where he breaks his ankle and keeps filming with a sock painted to look like a shoe. Every single film had real danger, real blood, and real Jackie Chan pain. He did not use stunt doubles. He did not use CGI. He believed, if I want the audience to feel something real, then I have to do something real. These films became legendary in Asia, Europe, and even parts of Africa and South America. Slowly, the West started watching. American fans started saying, "Who is this guy? Why does he risk his life in every movie? This is better than anything we have in Hollywood." Hollywood producers began to notice. And this time, they didn't want to control Jackie. They wanted to bring him in exactly as he was. By the late 1990s, Jackie was nearly 45 years old. He had already broken his fingers, his nose, more than 5 times, his ribs, his teeth, his skull, his ankles, his spine. He had performed over 1,000 stunts, many without permission or safety checks. He had nearly died more than 10 times on set. But he was still smiling, still climbing, still dreaming. Then came one final chance. An American producer offered him the lead role in a new buddy cop comedy film called Rush Hour. Jackie read the script. It was funny, it was fast, and the co-star would be Chris Tucker, a loud, energetic African-American comedian. It was the perfect contrast. And Jackie said yes. Nobody expected it to succeed. But when Rush Hour was released in 1998, it exploded. Rush Hour became one of the biggest action comedy hits in history. Jackie's fights, expressions, accent, timing, and chemistry with Chris Tucker were loved across the world. He was finally accepted, not as the next Bruce Lee, but as the first and only Jackie Chan. And after Rush Hour came Shanghai Noon, then Rush Hour 2, then The Tuxedo, then The Medallion, and then even voice roles like Master Monkey in Kung Fu Panda. The same man who had once been laughed at, rejected, and ignored by Hollywood was now invited, respected, awarded, and loved by Hollywood. For the first time in his life, Jackie Chan was no longer fighting for attention, no longer chasing fame, no longer struggling for a break. He had become a global icon. From Hong Kong to Hollywood, everyone knew his name. His movies were everywhere. In every cinema, on every TV, in every language. He had money, awards, fans, respect, and a long list of directors begging to work with him. But something was wrong. Something inside Jackie didn't feel complete. In fact, He was feeling something worse than emptiness. He was feeling guilt. Because while he was climbing the mountain of success, there was one part of his life he had left far behind: his family. And the first person that came into his mind was his son. Jackie Chan had a son named J.C. Chan, born in 1982. Jackie was 28 at the time, already a rising star in Hong Kong. But even when J.C. was born, Jackie wasn't ready to become a father. He was still working day and night on film sets, jumping through windows, falling off buildings, doing press tours, flying between countries. He wasn't home. He didn't attend school meetings. He didn't go to games or birthdays. He didn't teach his son how to ride a bike or solve problems. Instead, Jackie said to himself, "If I make more money, I can give my son a better future." But what JC wanted wasn't money. He wanted his father. By the time Jackie realized this, it was too late. JC had grown up feeling ignored, unseen, and unloved. In interviews, JC admitted that he was often raised by his mother, helpers, and private tutors, but rarely saw his father. And when they did talk, Jackie was not soft. He was strict. He was cold. He didn't know how to be emotionally present. Years later, Jackie wrote in his autobiography, "When I think about my son, I feel I've failed. I was too focused on success. I gave him everything, except myself." He admitted that he once hit JC so hard during an argument that his wife had to pull him away in fear. He later said, "I regret that moment every day." Jackie had grown up being beaten by his master. That was how he learned discipline. But he didn't realize his son wasn't him. JC wasn't a fighter. He wasn't a stuntman. He wasn't trying to be a martial artist. He just wanted to be a son. But Jackie couldn't see it then. He was blinded by ambition. JC tried to follow in his father's footsteps, entering the entertainment world. He studied music. He tried acting. But every time he appeared on screen, people said, "That's Jackie Chan's son. Let's see if he's like his dad. He better be great." The pressure was crushing, and JC struggled to find his own identity. He didn't want to flip off rooftops. He didn't want to fight 10 men at once.